morning, everyone. You're looking fabulous this morning. So I am super excited about this segment. I have been looking forward to it for many months. So we have a customer in the US called the Clorox Corporation, a global manufacturer and marketer of consumer and professional goods. And their sales are about $7 billion, so pretty sizable. And they've been on a digital transformation journey over the last 4 years. And earlier this year, they hit some major milestones. And I am so pleased that some of the team have traveled all the way over here to share into the heartland of SAP to share their story. So I'm really pleased to introduce Chau Banks, the CIO, to the stage. Chau. So two quick questions, just a show of hands to set the scene. Who here has heard of Clorox? Okay, about 50%. You have definitely.
Including me, yes.
And who here works in a company that makes use of SAP? Okay, so that's given us something to go for. So, Chau, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about Clorox.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy to be here, and this is the first time getting to see Adrian not out or not in a box, right? So live. So this is exciting. So the Clorox company, we are U.S. based, but certainly we have global products. So we are a company that does not just have the iconic cleaning brands that you're familiar with that sit in your pantry, but we actually also are the parent company of many other categories and brands that are very unique and global. Our products sit in 9 out of 10 households in the U.S. And of course, we want to get more into our global markets, but we do operate globally. So we have categories that are cleaning and home, which include Clorox, Poet, Brita, and also Glad products, so just some examples of that category. In our health and wellness, we have Burt's Bees. So not only are we in your pantry, we might be in your pocket. Anybody have a Burt's Bees sitting in your pocket? Yep, yes. I know a lot of men love the Burt's Bees lip balm. We also have our food product, which Hidden Valley Ranch is a very popular brand in the US. We make it in the US and sell it in the US. I have seen in the airport some people actually bring cases of it to the UK and to other places because it's really just a great product. And then also we have our pet area, which specifically cat litter. So we have Fresh Step, we have Everclean, we have Scoop Away. So those are some key products for us. So as we think about sort of the family of brands, it does really bring together a lot of the complexities and how we think about designing for a legacy company that's 112 years old, coupled with a partnership with Stibo, right, which is over 200 years old.
You guys are still young, but there's a lot to learn. We'll stick with us. So, Chau, I remember the first time we met on the box. Yeah. I went away really amazed and impressed about your exposure to SAP. You're no stranger to SAP. Share it a little bit, please, with the audience.
Yeah, I am not. With Clorox, I have just completed my 13th major SAP implementation. First in S/4HANA, but certainly for us, I've kind of built a career. So I always say I migrated my career from operations and logistics and manufacturing into IT. So it was a career path that I chose because back in the 90s when you had ERP attached to your name, right, you were a hot commodity, yeah. Not so hot anymore, but I really have appreciated being able to build the career and really be able to help facilitate companies with ERP.
I was just staggered. Anyone here done more than 13 SAP implementations? I mean, there's got to be some kind of record there. So that's incredible. So tell us about the challenges that Clorox was having that led to the digital transformation you've been on.
Yeah. So as I referenced, being a parent company of these many brands and being a company with a lot of legacy systems, our complexity was, I'll say, I compare it to remodeling a house. I'm currently going through that personally. And I thought about sort of, how do I compare it? So building this house for me is like having a bustling house that still has to run and operate, right? But you're throwing a dinner party every single night, and you have to work around, right, the people and the processes. So it was being able to just make sure that we designed everything from the baseline. It wasn't just about patching walls, and putting new paint. It was truly redesigning and being able to go back to the blueprint of how we think about data, how we think about all of the processes that drive the data. And so one of the big things that we did, and I've been proud of doing at Clorox, was when I joined 5.5 years ago, was to think about rebranding IT, right? Because it was not just about flipping the light switch, right, and putting in some new cabling in the house. It was around truly creating a new experience. So we evolved IT into what we called EDT, Enterprise Data and Tech. Yep. So our motto is lead with data, enable through technology. So that's how we've been able to do that throughout this process, was leading with that mantra. And of course, org change management and getting people to really understand how things work within that house has been one of the complexities for us. But we have really overcome that through a 5-year transformation, business transformation, the largest implementation and transformation that Clorox has invested in ever in our 112-year history.
So what is the milestone you passed this year? Bring us up to date on the program.
Yeah, so we, as part of our transformation program, we started out with our marketing, R&D, sales capabilities back in 2021, 22. And so we evolved that into making sure that we were future-proofing our systems, we were building new capabilities, getting closer to the consumer. And then coupled with that, this ERP implementation that was running in parallel, we did go live with our SAP S/4HANA for our Canada and our global finance businesses back in July of 2024. That really started the structural journey for us in terms of making sure that we were being able to future-proof and be able to be more productive and efficient in how we think about capabilities and building towards new brands and also the potential and opportunities for M&A. And so for us, it was very important to think about how to create that integration. Fast forward, we recently just went live with our second release of our S/4HANA, which is to our US business, which is the major part of our company, about 85% of our business. So it's been really interesting and unique because we took the Canada footprint and we said, let's do it, let's get it right, and let's make sure we evolve how we think about integration. And then building it into this latest release has been huge. I mean, it's been instrumental for us in terms of how we know that we'll be able to have the foundations to be able to grow and move our business even faster.
So I hope you don't mind. I want to give a little shout out to 3 quite special people who are involved in that. I think Tammy, if you can just stand up. Tammy's birthday was yesterday, and Andreas, who coincidentally was born in Berlin, and also our own Joy, who led the Stibo Systems team there. Fantastic. Now, when we first met, I kind of said, look, if you're ever worried or concerned or stressed, you've got my number. And we got to the point where we had regular calls, and some of them lasted 3-4 minutes. How are you? Fine. How are you? Fine. Anything from your team? It's all good. Good. Have a great day. Yeah. And so from the distance I was, not the distance that Andreas, Tammy, and Joy were, things went incredibly smoothly.
Yeah.
Well, you made a really big decision, which is kind of why we're here, which was that you kept the master data in step, and you've deployed or are deploying across, I think, 7-8 domains instead of putting the master data in SAP. Can you talk us through, because I'm sure some of the companies here are interested in that.
Yes, sure, absolutely. So when I joined Clorox in 2020, we actually had already selected Stibo for our material master. And so that was a decision that I inherited. And honestly, coming from a heritage of technology and data, where I led data migrations and implementations back 20 years prior to that, for me it was, okay, it's a new product for the company, it's newer in the market, from a CPG, from a consumer products and goods company standpoint. So, but we chose it because it was an important factor in the way that we were thinking about our R&D, product innovation, our product lifecycle management work. Then fast forward 2 years when we started planning our SAP implementation, it was very clearly, should we continue to use Stibo as our core product, right? There's always SAP, there's other partners. So we actually looked at and evaluated all of the different partners and capabilities. And what we felt very strongly about keeping Stibo was, right, we had already had it as the start of the backbone and the core of our data. And of course, Material Master being very key, but being able to evolve that to ensure that we had all the other data domains for us. Customers, very important. Tammy is part of our sales organization, so really helped us to really integrate that. Vendor, financial data, among others. So it has been really important for us because it allowed us the ability to easily integrate across our whole ecosystem of other applications. Our choice that we made up front as we started our digital transformation was best in breed. We did not have to go with one single platform, and I believe still we made the right choice. And with Stibo in there, it has allowed us to really look at all of our data across every core domain. As a global company, we have some other ERPs that we eventually want to make sure that is very integrated. It doesn't have to be one single system, but for us, Stibo is helping us to make sure that we're facilitating data across every single one of those.
The involvement of STEP, did it change the risk or cost profile at all? Because I'm sure there was a very professional SAP sales team saying, don't go that way. But did it make any impact on risk, time to value?
Oh, it's very risky, Adrian. Very risky.
Wait, that's not in the script. Hey, well, got a commercial break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was risky because at the time, Stibo wasn't well known in the industry for us, and so it was, for the people who selected the product before I joined the company, it was reputational, right? We really felt strongly about this product, right? This new CIO is coming in and saying and questioning, right? Is this the right path for us? But the risk was a little bit more, I think, also in how we started up with the implementation. We did have to leverage a lot of services with Stibo, and it was also just building the knowledge within our company was tough, right? Everybody was used to doing things their way, and now this, the new tools and capabilities were forcing us to be much more strategic and much more aligned and standardized. Which, again, I mentioned OCM, or change management. That was a big component for us up front. And we didn't get it right up front, but we evolved it into a way where we started bringing people together to understand the importance of why master data is core to everything we do. So we started with harmonization and standardization, right? And then access. And now for us, it's building, and we have built that trust in the work that we've done across multiple aspects of our implementation.
And that's a huge change management. I'm sure many of you who've been through this, getting the mindset around that standardization instead of we've always done it this way. It's not a technology problem. And one of the things that stuck with me when I visited your offices, of all the people I met with, Andreas and Tammy, I didn't know who was IT and who was business. It was absolutely unified team. And of course, with such a big program, there were posters and statements from the CEO. It was from the top. It was hand in hand. And I'm absolutely certain those things contributed to the success you've had.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you do say that, it was very seamless for us. So when we created the capability, I brought Andreas over from our marketing organization. He was leading our analytics and insights group. And with that, I remember Andres, he said to me, he said, I'm not really sure if I should move into an IT organization. And I said, because of the knowledge, right? I'm not technical. And I said, I need you to bring the functional. I need you to bring that 70%, and I can teach you the technical. Now Andreas, fully fluent in technology and leading us with data. So that was very important. And then another strategic move we made just over a year ago was I brought Tammy in from that sales organization. And while she still belongs to and supports the sales organization, she's one of us. She's a honorary member of Enterprise Data and Tech, but has really been crucial to the journey that we built. It's around building the people readiness, coupled with the underlying technology for us has been key.
That's a winning formula. That's absolutely. So what about outcomes? What can you see so far? It's still early, but what do you see has been achieved?
Yeah, it is still early. We still have 2 more releases. Actually, I shouldn't say 2 more. We have 1 more because this week we went live with our second release of our S4 into our Kingsford charcoal business, which has a lot of manufacturing complexities, different processes than some of our other core cleaning and manufacturing processes. So for us, it's been really critical because we've taken that whole mindset around all of the data domains, and we didn't change a thing. All we did was evolve it to ensure that we did capture all of the uniqueness of the bill of materials and other things that capture this business. And then ultimately in January of 2026, we are targeted to go live with our final businesses, which is our cleaning business, and also our Burt's Bees business. So we're really excited about that. We're gearing up to go. I actually got a text message from my chief technology officer this morning saying, our release 2 is going great and everything is clean and no issues with data. And when I hear data is green and data is 100%, it just makes me really proud.
This isn't language I'm used to from my career with SAP projects, I'm sorry. Pulling hair out and losing it, but that is fantastic. So, there's a lot of companies going through S/4HANA migrations right now. What advice would you having just about got to the other side, what advice would you share?
Yeah. Well, it depends on if they're using Stibo or not. What do you think?
Maybe that's the piece of advice. I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah.
A T-shirt. Oh, I've got the wrong shirt on.
Exactly. I would say, because I have been through 13 major implementations and multiple releases of those implementations, I would say the big thing is to plan ahead. Take the time in your plan to make sure that you focus on readiness and quality, right? Those are things, as I've worked in previous implementations. When things get tight, you always cut the testing timeline, the data validation. So for us, it was really crucial, and we brought our business in to ensure that data cleanliness was core. Right? It wasn't just someone sitting in our technology organization saying, "Oh, yep, I think this is clean," or our Excel or pivot tables check out. It was truly ensuring that those processes were integrated. We delivered quite a bit of training to our new data stewards, data owners. We clarified that up front across our different data domains. And I'm going to say we did a lot of recruiting and influencing of how people worked early up front. And then once they got into the system, that was really when it was like, whoa, right? Like, I see now all of this tough work that we did and how it's really evolving into how we're going to truly run the business in a different format in the future. So for me, it's just that planning and timing is really critical, along with staying positive. There are days and nights and weekends where it didn't feel like it was going to all come together, but for us it was just pushing through, and so we're here, and in the first week of our second release go live, 3 leaders are here sitting in Berlin and not sitting back in our war room, so it's very exciting.
And you can see Tammy here, she hasn't checked her phone once during this. It's like, oh. But it's so interesting, what Chau just said, so little of that was actually about the technology. There is a pick the right technology, but the rest is people and change management.
Yeah.
So Chau, we have about 10 seconds. What next?
Yeah, so we are looking at all of the capabilities. As I mentioned, we still have some other ERPs in our environment, so looking at that as opportunities for us. How do we unlock the value of this $500 million implementation that we've invested in? So it's unlocking the value of data, ensuring that we have optimized all of our new capabilities, and it makes it easier as we now integrate new technologies. SaaS technologies for us is now, and technology in the cloud for us is easier and it's a conversation that we don't need to convince people anymore. It is now about how do we make sure that it's fully integrated with our business.
Wow, it's quite amazing. So I would like a huge round of applause for Chau, for Tammy, Andreas, and congratulations.